Hello and welcome back to the new Whovian, a snack break podcast in which I, Bendigo Blue, discuss the brand new latest episodes of Doctor Who. I am indeed the new Whovian, aka Bendigo Blue, and today we are going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 2, Doctor Who Lux. This episode kicked it off with another great cold open. The mounting terror of Mr. Ringerding really just worked amazingly. And again, it's another prologue for the ages. I wouldn't have... Robot Revolution had a really good prologue, but Lux... Oh! Round of applause, please. That is one for the year to go down the history books. Belinda, now jumping to after the cold open, Belinda seems to have warmed to the theme of TARDIS exploration a little quicker than I'd honestly hoped. Although she did redeem herself by seeming keen to simply hop back home once they got out of the TARDIS, her dancing off into the 50s closet with the Doctor did seem a little too reminiscent of last season's Ruby Sunday Devil's Chord scene for my personal liking. And again, I just want to reinstate, I'm somebody who really, really liked Ruby Sunday as a companion, but I do want difference in style and personality of the companions, and we are really getting that so far. But again, I don't want it just after episode 2. Belinda, it's good that we're not skipping 6 months this time. That is at least a relief. But yeah, just Belinda warming so quickly and sort of going into that, let's go get some 50s clothes on, this is fun, was a little bit of a disappointment. But again, she redeemed herself a little bit later. The initial scene in the 50s diner is a perfect example of how this episode manages to encapsulate a plethora of topics into a super fun episode without feeling remotely heavy-handed. This was an excellent extension, actually, of Dot and Bubble's discussion of racism last year, and expertly displayed how this is going to be the reality for the 15th Doctor. It would be so wrong just to sort of... And, well, when I say so wrong, it would seem wrong only to acknowledge it once and just be done with it. But equally, I can understand the practicality. People did question it. I believe Russell T Davies said in... Doctor Who, I want to call it Doctor Who Confidential. Doctor Who Unleashed. Blimey, it's not 2005. But I believe he said in Doctor Who Unleashed that, people did question when Ncuti Gatwa was cast. Well, how's he going to deal with the racism when he goes back even, less than 100 years ago, 70 years ago into America? Or even in the present day, in the future, as we realised in Dot and Bubble, it's going to be something that he encounters. And the fact that they were able to blend that into this episode and have a great discussion about it and allow the Doctor to sort of acknowledge it but also have moved on due to those horrible experiences in Dot and Bubble, I thought that was really, very good. Then the first scene in which the Doctor and Belinda encounter Lux, he's not called Lux, Mr. Ringerding, sorry, is a real highlight of the episode. Mounting terror, I'm saying it again, it seems to be something that Mr. Ringerding excels in. And from his initial footsteps down the theatre to first talking to the Doctor, he is such a joy. I really just can't get over just how brilliant Mr. Ringerding is. It is perfect adrenaline for an animation fan. It really, really is. And the sheer variety of expression, movement, and personality that he displays is a real testament to the animator's work. Again, I know I yap on about this every week, or every week so far, it's only episode 2. But they were talking about this in Doctor Who magazine, and there was just so much work and plan and passion that clearly went into this episode. It is so good to see, and I think that really shone through in this episode in particular. Then we had the laughing. Don't make me laugh! Don't make me laugh! That is just great. I was racking my brains. Again, it's another excellent way in which Russell T Davies just really engages the audience. Like last week and I believe they come at similar points in the episodes. But last week's, what do you call it? It's the every 9 words thing when... with the robots, and they miss out every 9 words, and the Doctor's using that as a means of communicating with Belinda. That's just such a great way of really just... stay with us. Come on. You're in this now. You're in this world and you're going to enjoy it you're going to love it for the next 30 minutes that's left or whatever. And this serves a really similar purpose. I was racking, and perhaps it doesn't for somebody who's not a super big Doctor Who fan. I do appreciate that. But for a Doctor Who nerd, it is really lovely it was really exciting to be racking my brain going, who laughs, who laughs, who laughs, switch up the Doctor Who villains laugh. And then, of course, it was revealed that It is the toy maker, the pantheon of the gods. The fact that Mr. Ring-a-Ding, ironically, because this sort of comes up later in the episode, is a god. It comes up later in the episode, but this was leaked to me, or it was leaked generally, and I was aware of it back in July last year. So this was not a massive surprise for me. The Harvest Bringer turning into Harbinger was thankfully actually just a brief moment, and it was acknowledged very quickly early on. I was sort of worried that the main joy of this episode would be ruined by the fact that I knew he is one of the gods, but they got to that bit very quickly, and I really, really liked that. I have to say, I was sort of questioning as well. Again, Doctor Who magazine, I just love it. But in Doctor Who magazine, they had, by Lou Stringer, they'd done like a bonus comic in there, and it was a page of comic in which it was just like a theoretical adventure that, Mr. Ring-a-Ding would go on, and it was Easter themed. It was all nice. But he kept saying, "Don't make me laugh." And I really was thinking, that's really weird. What are they getting at there? Why won't they make him laugh? Because he's busy? Don't make me laugh. I've got work to do. I'll get distracted if I laugh. That's a bit weird, but okay. And again, the fact that had a purpose and it wasn't just some weird catchphrase, really, really good. Love that. The initial animation scene then was when this episode really affirmed itself to me as an all-time great. Jokes are top tier, and the animation concept was wonderful. Mr. Ring-a-Ding has a really good line. "You don't expect backstory. I'm a two-dimensional character," or something along the lines of that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's really, really good stuff. And it's, just so much fun there. Really like that. And again, it's the fact that this was how they handled the Gallifrey discussion this season was so good, because again, we've heard the walking around the TARDIS, we've heard the Gallifrey story so many times, and hey, I love these pieces of lore. I love the fact that the TARDIS is bigger on the inside than the outside. That's great, as is, everything to do with Gallifrey. It's lovely stuff if you're a Doctor Who fan, but equally if you're a Doctor Who fan, you've heard about Gallifrey a lot. And if you're not getting new information, if you're just being told, I'm the Time Lords again and again and again, you can only hear it so many times. So doing it that way was a really fun way of discussing that. And then also the fact, introducing to Belinda that no, there is no Time Lord garage. It's not there. Believe it or not, there's no Time Lord garage. A revelation, I know. But yeah, that was, very, very, very exciting there. And just a really great example again of this episode's creativity. Then we go on to what has definitely been the most controversial bit of the episode. To be honest, I feel like we're at a point in Doctor Who now where if you look online, if you look on certain places online, every single episode seems to be controversial. Because just people want to dislike it sometimes, or they just dislike all of it, and that's okay. People can dislike what they want, but the fact that it sort of went, everybody's saying meta a lot, and I don't want to say it, but it is very meta. So meta. So yeah, it's all very meta. So yeah, that's I thought that was actually handled really well and was a lot of fun. Again, it's another thing that really gets your brain thinking, and it's just keeping you in the episode. It is so much fun. This is not a one-stop simple ride, but at the same time, it's lots of fun. You can enjoy it. You're not having to think super deep, yet it manages to tackle all these amazing themes and keep you engaged expertly for 45 minutes. It in no way feels like 45 minutes. And actually, I think this is probably the strength of I'm going to get pitchforked and burned for this, but I think this is probably the strength of the 8-episode season, because I love a lot of New Who, but I can look through certain seasons and go, oh yeah, that was, or basically all seasons I can look through and go, look, we got a good batch of episodes, good old batch of episodes, but there's a few ones in there that are just pretty bad in my opinion. And I know, controversial, but everybody has their episodes they think that are bad, but there were none. Even if I didn't love all the episodes last season, there were none that I thought were, and I did love a lot of them, but there were none that I thought were really bad, which I realise it's harsh to call something bad, but there are some I personally find to be bad episodes in other seasons, whereas I didn't find that last time. So I think there's only 8 episodes, but so far I've found it very promising. So yeah, keeps you really engaged for 45 minutes, and it's another thing to get you thinking. I thought the fans were handled with classic Russell T Davies appreciation for the Doctor Who community. I know I am branding myself here as the new Whovian, so who am I to talk about it? But I've been over the last year and a half, I've been learning a lot about Doctor Who and the Doctor Who community and everything, getting into all the YouTube stuff and all that fun stuff that's great about Doctor Who. And for that reason, I thought I was personally very okay with it. And I thought it was quite a fun, accurate display of Doctor Who fans. The R.I.P. Doctor Who was really, really funny as well. The fact that they were talking about something that did actually get leaked. It was meta, very, very meta. But I know it's what everyone's saying, but it really was. I actually didn't have that bit of it leaked to me, and I am delighted that I did not, because it's just, it was a really fun surprise if you didn't know it was coming. I thought it was handled very well, and again, the fact they sort of twist around on you, it's a twist and a twist and a twist. Really, really nice stuff. It does make me wonder how they're going to handle, or what that means for the theory of the reality war being... I do wonder what that does for the theory of the Doctor realising in the reality war that he's in a TV show. I'm hoping, to be honest, that that's going to be the case, because then, like, where do you go from that? And what do you do? How do you resolve that ever? Like, the shooting out or just walk into your living room? I just think that sometimes we don't need to go that far. So I'm hoping that that's sort of the limit that they keep that topic and discussion to, and that it was great to be briefly mentioned in an early season episode, but hopefully not focus of the whole season. Anyway, they get out of there, and we basically go into the big showdown with Mr. Ring-a-Ding, good old Mr. Ring-a-Ding. And I have to say, Time Lord energy, really good. We love a bit of regeneration stuff. Everyone does, right? So very nice to see, very exciting Mr. Ring-a-Ding versus the Doctor. Have to say, beyond that last fight, it was fine. There was nothing particularly in there that I would comment on. Although, again, it was really exciting stuff. It was a really exciting episode, and I think it's almost a good thing at this point that there's very little I have to say about it. I was just enjoying it that much that beyond sort of the obvious things that are really impressive. Wow, they're in animation. Wow, it's Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Wow, they're acknowledging the fans. All this stuff. But just the fact that showdown was really entertaining. That was really, really good. So Mr. Ring-a-Ding then evolves. And oh my goodness, does Mr. Ring-a-Ding evolve. It is horrifying, but it is perfect. I'm not a horror fan really, but wow, that was amazing. The 3D animation, the way it's rendering, and it's perfect. It is beautiful. I'm flinging an empty stapler around. I'm so excited. It's just really, really good. And full form 3D render Mr. Ring-a-Ding is absolutely horrifying, and I am all here for it. It is great. And then it all just sort of ends. Mr. Ring-a-Ding sort of just grows and grows and grows and fades into the sky. And he just... that's sort of the end of Mr. Ring-a-Ding. And it undermines, not only did I not really love that scene, but I felt that a big part of this episode was the fact that I felt like one of the few flaws of this episode was the fact that Mr. Ring-a-Ding's power as a god did feel sort of undermined. The Toymaker is a really genuine threat to the Doctor, and it's really somebody for him to go up against. Whereas I just didn't feel that quite so much with Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Maybe it's the fact that he's 2 feet tall, but even though we do sort of get an establishment of here's what he could do by the fact that he puts people in film, I've seen a lot of people pointing out online that, why? What was Mr. Ring-a-Ding's great plan here. And I have to sort of agree, and it's something I did notice as I watched the episode. He didn't feel quite threatening enough. He didn't feel like a full-blown Doctor Who god, and I felt that was something only further affirmed by what I found to be a bit of a lacking sort of ending to the Mr. Ring-a-Ding episode, with him sort of just fading into the sky, which, yeah, it just sort of confused me. It's minor criticisms for an otherwise great episode. Then everybody very suddenly is released from their movie frames, and all is good and well. We then have Mrs. Flood. She's appearing. She talks about Doctor Who ending on the 25th of May, which is really funny, like that. And yeah, nice just to see Mr. Flood. I'd totally forgotten about Mrs. Flood, actually, but nice to see her make an appearance at the end of an episode and just being like a nice little fun extra thing in there. So very, very like all of that. One thing I did forget to mention was... So there you go. Those are my thoughts on Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 2, Lux. All in all, a really great episode, and definitely for me an S-tier episode of the Ncuti Gatwa era. Perhaps, Ncuti Gatwa does regenerate at the end and we get no news about Season 3. Perhaps I will do a ranking video at the end of this season. This is certainly up there for me, alongside the likes of 73 Yards, The Devil's Cord, perhaps even Rogue. All S-tier additions for me. Really, really good episode. Love it. Great. It manages to handle so many topics. Again, something I forgot to mention in my initial review was the cinema guy. I can't remember his name, Mr. Ridley or something. But the scene and the way he describes the death of his wife and the story regarding him and his relationship, that sounds creepy, but it's not. It's normal. His interactions with Mr. Ring-a-Ding and how he's connected to all of this. It's just another amazing example of how this episode really does juggle a lot while still being so much fun and so exciting, and just a great episode of Doctor Who. Love it. 9.5 out of 10 stars from me. Really, really liked it. Next week's episode is The Well. I'm nervous. This is probably the most nervous I've been for any of these episodes so far. Robot Revolution, I suppose, maybe similar, but I felt we sort of had Lux in the bag. The Well, we know very little about. It looks scary. Some people are theorizing that the water villain from The Waters of Mars, which is one of my favourite episodes of Doctor Who, and I love the Target novelisation of that. I really, really like Waters of Mars. But some people are saying that villain is going to come back, and if they do, I might just cry. It's going to be a scary one. It's going to be very intense. Already in the bonus scene, I can't remember whether it was on the next week on Doctor Who or on the Doctor Who Confidential one, but it looks scary, and is going to be a much more intense 45 minutes. Similarly to, I think, Boom last year, maybe even 73 Yards, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm really curious to see how it all goes together. I'm nervous. That is it this week, though, for this week's episode of The New Whovian. We've been discussing Doctor Who Episode 2, Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 2. Thank you very much for listening. This is a Home Capra production. This is a Snack Break podcast. Thanks very much for listening. I've been Ben Goodblue. See you soon. Stay safe. Bye.